for the most part, signal flow goes from left to right in Headcase. However, there are some considerations and some things that we should take a minute here to explain to you, because it doesn't always flow left to right, and in some cases the interface doesn't actually show you the proper flow mechanism due to screen real estate. We just didn't have room to put it in that way. So let's explain what happens here. The first thing that signal flow comes into is this blue button here, which sets your audio level. Now, what the main reason for this audio level is for is because with different systems and being able to set different gain levels and tones and whatnot on each head, and the fact that you're going to be sharing heads built on different systems, we had to have some form of standard. And what this blue button does is it sets the level to be within plus minus 0.5 dB, no matter what system or interface you're running on. So it just creates some sort of standardization. That's also why we always tell you you need to set this. So the first thing that hits, that gets signal level is the input blue button. It then goes out and goes into the noise gate. And from the noise gate, it goes into your stomps. Okay, so from the stomps, it goes to the precuts. From the precuts, it goes to the gain section. And then this is where it starts to get a little bit more confusing, where things may or may not be from left to right. So in this configuration, yes, in fact, it is going from left to right, because you see we have our tone stack at the very end of the gain section. It will go into your tone stack here, and then into the power amp. However, if we move that tone stack to, say, here, then what's going to happen is the signal is going to go from here into this curve, then out over here to your tone stack, and then back into the gain section to run the last two curves. It then goes directly out from here into your power amp. Now, the power amp, that also needs a little bit of an explanation as to what happens here. So the signal flow, once it hits the power amp, goes through these curve cuts, unless, of course, as you see, they're bypassed. To bypass anything in Headcase, any of these, you just basically turn them off. To bypass any of these cuts, that is. So, in this case, right now, with this turned on, it will go through the curve cuts. It then goes through the power amp filter. Now, it would have been more intuitive for us to be able to put this power amp filter here, but really what we couldn't do is we just couldn't find the real estate to properly identify that and these. That may change in future, though. We'll probably reorganize this a little bit in a future update. So after it goes through the power amp filter here, it goes into this multiplier. Now this, you can think of this as like a gain knob for your power amp. This will allow you to push these curves a little more and cause them to distort if you want, which, you know, obvious power amp distortion. So from these curves, or from here, it goes directly into these curves. Now these curves, after there, it goes into what, you know, if you want, you can have a power amp tone stack. So after the curves, it can go into another power amp tone stack, which, you know, you can set another set of tones. This really adds more of an EQ than anything, but what you can do with this that's very cool is you can actually blend the first tone stack, the first tone stack here with this one, and you do that by setting it here. You know, if you want more of the first tone stack, then go here. If you want more of the second, then go here. So really it allows you to set the input going into the tone stack, or into the power amp here, from this tone stack, and then if you set to use more of this one, then what happens is the signal flow going into the power amp here, where is it? Here, okay, will be set by this first tone stack, and then the second tone stack will be what actually gives you your tone. So there's 1,000,001 different variations. As long as you understand what the signal flow is doing, then you can actually set it into different scenarios a lot easier. So let's go back to this power amp and continue explaining, or power amp dynamics, I should say. Now, it doesn't just go into here. There's also other knobs, okay, that you can create within your tone stack that are actually created here in the power amp, okay? One of the knobs that we can talk about is, when we go to graphics and we turn it on, is the scoop knob, which looks like this. Where is it? Oh, wrong one. Oh, and of course I have it locked. Well, let's move one of these out of the way. There's the scoop knob. So if you look, you see what it does. Okay, that's actually done in the power amp. It's not done in the tone stack here. It's not part of that. And neither is the presence control. The presence is not part of that, nor is the cut. All of these happen here just before the head high pass. So after you've gone through, you know, all your tone stack and whatnot, the signal then goes to this head high pass, which allows you obviously to filter out any rumblings or that kind of thing that would happen. The very next thing that happens is it goes to set here, which is the maximum. This is the master volume control's maximum output level. So when you have that cranked, that's the maximum this will be at. So it just allows you to set the volume of the head, which is also extremely important, because people will be loading these, and you know, the next thing you know, they'll have one head in there that's of low volume, and then they'll have another one that's of high volume, and it just wouldn't work, which is also the other reason why we have the limiter. Whenever you load a head, okay, or a preset for that matter, this limiter will automatically kick on, just in case somebody set this to be amazingly high and dangerous to your speakers. This limiter will kick on, and there's nothing you can do to turn that off. That will always be like that. I guess that's about it as far as signal flow. I don't think there's anything else we need to cover right now. Maybe we'll go more in depth a little later, but for now this gives you a basic starting, and you can always ask questions at the asylum or various forums that we're on. The Facebook group is another one. You can always ask questions there, and somebody will jump up and answer for you. Anyways, thank you very much for watching.